Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 3, Episode 27, where we watched Ghost Adventures, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Yo, this is James.
Robert Kitts.
You guys want to hear some ghost jokes?
And welcome back.
Brian Houston.
All right.
Is Max's unnamed?
Wait. Is this the real deal?
Yeah, we. Oh my God, Max.
Yeah.
No, it's a mic check. All
This
right,
is not a
we
mic
got to
check.
keep rolling.
Yeah, I'm not turning back. This is
Okay.
like our 8th time trying this.
Sorry,
Well-
folks. We had some audio difficulties due to spirits in the room.
We have been haunted to shit. Nobody wants us to do this podcast.
Chris antagonized him a little bit. It was a problem.
Max, if you didn't stick your head down Hell's Portal in there, we'd be fine right now.
Sorry.
All right, Rob, give us the description on that one. We'll roll back to this Hell's Portal thing.
So this we watched season 1. This is a description for a later season. Lock down your Saturdays with the fearless team from Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, returning for a spine-chilling 12th season. In each episode, paranormal investigators Zach Baggins and Aaron Goodwin, along with AV techs Billy Tolley and Jay Wasley, travel to a haunted destination where they meet with locals, eyewitnesses, and experts to piece together the haunted history of each site. They then begin a dusk to dawn lockdown investigation using the latest scientific gadgets and technology to confront the reported paranormal activity and document key evidence in an effort to uncover the truth behind each haunted mystery. That's Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel.
So we watched Season 1, Episode 1.
Yes.
Which aired in 2008.
Yep.
James, how many seasons do you think this show has?
As Rob said,
12.
12 seasons and still running.
Yep.
I can't believe the show is on TV. Like,
Well, do you
is-
think
what
it's
is
12?
happening?
How would you think?
what do you mean? You just said it was 12.
No, it's not 12.
Is it 18?
There's 17 seasons. The 17th season is about to start.
Holy
Oh my
crap.
god.
Wow. I like. Woof.
They also had a follow-up. So this episode, they go to the most haunted nightclub called Bobby Mackey's.
In Kentucky.
And they go back to Bobby Mackey's in a later episode.
Oh.
Spoilers.
New evidence.
New evidence.
Here's the thing. Bobby Mackey's seems like they don't have anything else going on. So their whole bit is like, how do we get on this show?
I looked at their website. I tried to find out if they were still open, which they are. They are nightclubs Friday, Saturday night. But every other night of the week, you can go on a ghost tour.
Oh
Ooh.
my goodness.
You can also go on an investigation.
Do they sell T-shirts too?
Not on their website.
That's
May-
surprising.
Maybe I haven't done a full cursory search.
Do they still have their mechanical bull?
That was the most important. I can't believe they never showed the mechanical bull.
Actually, it never specified there was a mechanical bull. Maybe it's a ghost bull.
Ooh.
Ride
Or
the
it's
ghost
just a
bull.
real bull. It is Kentucky.
So we can also go on a 2-hour tour or a 5-hour investigation.
What in the hell happens on the investigation?
You can set up your cameras and you can walk around and you can try to find the ghosts.
So, okay, I get what this is. So you're telling me for some amount of money,
Oh yeah.
you can pay to act like you were filming this TV show. Like you can reenact the filming of the TV
Yes.
show.
No.
For 5
Here-
hours. That's what that money's for.
here's what it really is. They're going to have you set up all their shit, and you're going to have to pay for it, and they're going to get this show produced for free.
That'd be nuts if you were on the show, though. That's not how the show works. But
No,
that'd
like
be a
they-
crazy
no.
concept.
Here's what they do. They just go like, okay, where do you want the X's? There. All right. And then they like film it like that. And then they put and then they have the guys set up the cameras.
This is definitely a way for you to pretend like you're filming this show.
Yeah.
Guess how much this costs, Rob?
Like one episode?
No.
The
A 5-hour
5-hour
investigation.
experience.
Oh, the 5-hour investigation.
Is it a per person?
$10.
No. It is for the whole investigation.
Per
I'm gonna
person.
say 300.
Definitely not. You're way high. I'll say $25.
It's the world famous Bobby Mackey's.
Well, how do you
No.
think? What do you think, Brian?
666.
That's a good guess.
Brian is by far the closest
66
at
bucks.
$5.95.
Oh,
for up to 12 people to do a 5-hour investigation.
Price is Right rules, I win.
$5.95 for 12 people.
Up to 12 people. It's the whole cost.
Got it.
Who the hell is doing this? Okay, we gotta stop talking about Bobby Mackey's and we gotta start talking about Ghost Adventures.
I don't want to talk about Ghost Adventures.
Ghost
though.
Adventures.
We gotta talk about Ghost Adventures, Chris.
Ghost Adventures. Everybody's seen a fucking ghost hunting show on TV. It's exactly that. They have some. They say like one or two funny things. Otherwise, it's that.
You didn't say. You just said it's a ghost.
So who are the
Adventures show.
two main people on the show right now?
We just gotta
Bilbo
talk about
Baggins.
Zach is the main.
Yeah.
Zach is like the heart of the show.
Okay, so
Zach Bilbo Baggins?
so Zach goes through and he interviews like 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
That's right,
Like the owner of Bobby
including Bobby Mackey himself.
interviews Bobby Mackey, the owner of this establishment, which I'm not sure is Bobby Mackey or just running the
He
establishment.
is Bobby Mackey.
No.
Minutia. We'll get to it.
All right. Well, he interviews these 4 people.
Yeah,
Then they get locked into Bobby Mackey's like nightclub. Then for half the night. Then the other half the night, they get locked into this like garage, like old slaughterhouse kind of place where, supposedly Zach gets scratched, quote unquote. They hear a bunch of crazy shit, supposedly, and see supposedly some sort of ghost. And then they got let out. Then they interview an exorcist from, we'll get into it, the Bishop of U.S. Old Catholic Church.
that's right.
And that's kind of the show, is them just kind of getting some ghost stories from people and then pretending like they're finding ghosts in places. I just described every episode of the show.
Yeah. The enjoyment of the show, if there is any to be had, is all in the minutia for sure.
Obviously.
So I find the show was sort of had a couple distinct phases of the show.
Yes.
There was phase 1, which was the interview phase, where they're talking to these different people and just like hearing ghost stories, and Zach is just very invested in what they're saying. Then there was like the investigate setup, which involved a lot of duct taped X's being placed on things.
The X's are very important.
We will get back to the X's. And then the third one, which is the bulk of the show, is just the lockdown when they're in the night vision and they're trying to interact with the ghosts. So during the first part where they're just interviewing people, like, this may not be clear stuff, like the editing on this show is super weird. The way they were cutting things and the way they were moving from one topic to another, just very, very strange how they chose to do it.
I don't think they spent a lot of time editing. I think they just kind of put all their footage together and like, yeah, that's about right.
Some editors like, what the fuck is this? Ghost Adventures? Fuck, okay.
This is definitely like no money, no budget show right now.
No, they spent $500 getting that 5 hours.
$600.
Oh, do you think these guys are getting a cut of those tours?
No, they had to pay to go on the tour to film the show.
They got 2 5-hour tours.
Yeah.
They paid $1,200.
That's why Bobby Mackey agreed to talk to them, because they paid for the tour.
Bobby Mackey, hell of a businessman.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's I don't know the minutia of the interview, the pieces all that well.
I got one.
Well,
Bathroom,
first off-
bathroom boy.
all these people are just clearly nuts. Like, let's just
Are
Oh,
they
yeah.
nuts or are they
I will
drunk
say-
/ on drugs?
they clearly and very distinctly, it seems to believe in whatever the hell they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're talking about is definitely what most would consider is off the deep end. Like, it's just straight to like, everything is, of course that's why that would work, or clearly that was a ghost, or we'll get into it, which is, I think the show is really just finding Bigfoot. It's an adaptation of it, which is like, of course there's a ghost over there, of course that was a Bigfoot, like, of course.
I think the show was much more like I will get the comparisons to Bigfoot later. I think
We
the show
will.
did a much better job than Bigfoot did about that.
I mean, it's debatable, but like that's kind of the vibe you get in like watching this show, right? It's like, they're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. The interview, I can't believe how into it the people are. And I do wonder if like they actually believe it or it's just for the show, which I don't know.
One of the first people they interview is sort of telling the story of this murder that occurred there. And he's like, yeah, there are these two guys and they murdered this girl and her head like washed up somewhere.
Well, they chopped her head
No,
off.
they couldn't find the head.
They couldn't find the head. The head was mysteriously gone.
Sure. And
That's a key thing to the story, Max, because the head was thrown down the Hell's Portal.
got it. And it was transported to hell. Got it. Anyway, he's like, yeah, most people say like something. It went down the river, but I think they chopped her head off to worship the great Lord Satan or something. Just
straight face.
Very straight face.
Everyone in the show is straight face. There's no laughing. There's no like everything that they hear or see. They're just like, that's got to be a ghost, and they're like, oh, that was definitely a woman's voice. And especially during these interviews, they're very taking all these drunkards very seriously.
I mean, the cameramen too. Like, it's not like the cameramen's in the back laughing or like you never see a shot of somebody not believing it.
No,
It's like anytime they show anybody, they are serious and they're like, "Of course, I can't believe it. Yes, 100% that was a ghost every time."
there was like they interviewed a guy that ran Bobby Mackey's for a while, and apparently he had to get an exorcism. And because he was possessed by a demon, and it was always like this spot here was always cold and like this bullshit. They're like, no.
He was because like he was just explaining, he was describing what other people had seen, and then he's like, "Were you ever?" He was like, "Oh yes, I was possessed," and I was like, "What?" Kind of buried the lead there.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I have no memory of this," and all of a sudden I like came to and I was trying to strangle someone. It's like, did you just like drop some bad acid there? What happened?
He definitely just blacked out.
Throughout
Yeah.
the show, that's a reoccurring theme of like, were they drunk or were they on something?
Yeah.
Like you could just ask that of every single story, time and time again.
And then I don't remember who was. Someone brought up the point of, if you really worked at this place and really got possessed, really had to get an exorcism, would you come back and interview the ghost people at that place? Like, I think
Yeah.
you'd be like, can we do it somewhere else maybe?
Place where I didn't get possessed.
Yeah.
Man.
Sometimes it was very unclear where these interviews were happening. They were like, it was like just like this wooded room, and you're like, I don't know where this is in location to like this bar at all.
But they said like he said something about being that spot, and he's like, I feel the demons are still in here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
there's also like Bobby Mackey's wife fell down the stairs at some
Yeah.
point, and
She was possessed.
She was
Chris.
pushed down the stairs by a ghost.
and she refused to come back into the place.
Yeah.
Refused to be interviewed.
Because
Very reasonable response if you were pushed down a stairs by a ghost.
Yes.
No, she just tripped down the stairs. She was too embarrassed. She's like, I can't come back. here."
Obviously, she was drunk and fell down the stairs.
Right. That's how all these stories go.
So speaking of drunk people, Max, tell us about Bathroom Guy.
Holy
yes.
shit.
The best story.
Is that why they call them spirits? Anyway, sorry. What did you want to hear from me?
Bathroom Guy.
Bathroom guy. Okay. So was he wearing like a cowboy hat?
I don't think he was
No.
wearing a cowboy hat.
I don't know. I
But
can't
like
remember this guy.
I can picture him wearing a cowboy hat.
They start interviewing this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I was in the bathroom, and I was over here, and this metal garbage can right next to me just like slams against the other wall, and I turn around and there's a man there, and that's all. That's the entire story. He definitely was just drunk as shit, and he like smashed the garbage can or something. Who
Yeah,
knows?
here's what happened. He was drunk as shit taking a pee in this bathroom. He's real drunk, right? He falls down, hits the trash can. Trash can flies over, hits the wall, and he comes to, and he's like, well, clearly that was a ghost.
Yeah.
Or maybe there was just another guy in the bathroom, and that's why when he turned around, he saw someone.
Probably some kind of bar fight.
Oh, he just got scared by his own reflection, threw the trash can, and then he's like, "Well, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm gonna make up this ghost story."
All very reasonable.
Anyway, yeah, phase 1, fucking wild.
The thing about phase 1 is it like I feel like with a little bit of a different tone, it would feel like a satire. That like
Oh yeah,
all this is designed to be funny, and no one actually like it's the American Vandal of ghost stories, but like it's not
Oh.
quite there.
I would
That's
watch
good.
that show.
I'm sure there's got to be a satire of this show. like a satire reality version.
I
of
almost
this.
wondered if that's what we were watching, but then no.
I feel like the Bigfoot one is almost a satire of this kind of
Almost.
show.
No, they're still in. They're into it too much.
Nah, we'll get into
Chris,
it later.
did we get you the Twitter followers to go to a BFRO meeting?
No, you did not.
We gotta get on that.
Man,
definitely-
We gotta get the listeners on our side on this.
Well, you got it. Now you brought it up. You gotta tee it up.
Tee up the whole Finding Bigfoot thing.
I think we should the BFRO meetup thing.
What about? I don't know what you're talking
never
about.
mind.
Bigfoot research. Okay, never mind.
You brought up the Twitter follower thing,
Yeah.
and you didn't clarify what that is for people that haven't listened.
Oh, I see. So yeah, so we watched the show Finding Bigfoot. We'll be talking more about in relation to this show. And they have this organization about people who want to find Bigfoot, the BFRO. And we think it would be great to have our host Chris go and represent us at a BFRO meeting.
no.
And we just need to get enough people on Twitter to do it. And then
I forget what the number was.
I'll go back to the tape. We'll find it.
Yeah,
we
there,
need
there's.
to get some
It's
amount of
not a high number. So
Yeah,
if
we'll
you want
get there. We'll get
to
there.
torture the host, tweet at us about going to BFRO or follow us on Twitter.
Yes.
Is it like the research organization or something?
I think Bigfoot
Bigfoot.
Research Organization. I
Yeah.
think that's BFRO.
All right. So after all these interviews, they get like taken around this bar.
Yeah.
And like at some point they were like, there's a couple interesting things that happen while they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They get to this like one wall where they're like, there used to be a jukebox here and it used to play. They would hear some sort of song when it was unplugged that wasn't even on the jukebox.
Yep.
It was one of the stories that came out. Then there was like the first note I have is like they were looking at this wall that had like paint chips off of it, and it was like, see this screaming face here? And I was like, no. It looks like a shitty wall.
Some drywall fell off that wall. Is all that happened. That was just a hole in it.
And I guess while we talk about this actual location, the first thing that happens in this whole show is that they walk up to this place and there's like this sign on the wall that says there's ghosts in here essentially. And we are not liable for if a ghost pushes you down the stairs.
It wasn't that specific, but yes.
That was the idea.
I mean, I just extrapolated.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Are we in the nighttime one yet? Did we
Not
No,
yet.
no, no,
Not
no.
yet.
Okay.
No.
We got. Yeah. There's
And
one
then
more.
there was also I don't understand where this other place was. There's like Bobby Mackey's the club.
Yeah.
Then they have this just like shed that they go to that
It's
used to
just
be a
like,
slaughterhouse.
It's the backside of the Bobby Mackey's.
I think Bobby Mackey's used to be part of Slaughterhouse too. I think that's what they said. And so it's like a couple buildings that are just like beside each other. And so I
Yeah.
think it's all part of like the same like bigger complex.
Yeah, I didn't really get the location all that well, obviously.
They did a bad job.
It's like a whole theme park. They got a bull.
Yeah.
I mean, we never saw the bull, but
Unclear if it's a mechanical bull.
the wife of the owner is just wearing this T-shirt that says "I rode the bull."
No, that wasn't the
Bobby
wife of the owner. That was
Mackey's."
just some manager.
Oh, some manager. But
Yeah,
the
the
shirt
wh-
though, I just loved the shirt that was like clearly you wanted to express that you had ridden this bull, but
Yes.
you never showed the bull in the show.
Well, it's advertising.
So many questions. This is a ghost bull? Is it a real bull?
All right.
Oh,
Mechanical
Ghost
bull?
Bull. I hadn't thought of that.
So in this like weird shed thing, there's just like a hole into the sewer
Mm-hmm.
that they called the hell portal, the portal to hell.
Hell's
Hell's
Portal.
Portal.
Hell's
Portal.
portal.
And then there were stairs that led nowhere. That was
Mm.
also some sort of portal.
It was the portal to heaven, obviously.
Okay,
and
they rented some power tools, drunk, and did some
Well,
shit.
so to be clear, they did explain the well situation,
yeah, that's where all the blood went
right, from the slaughterhouse.
from the slaughter.
Plus, they do the slaughter in. They shove all the blood and the heads and stuff down this hole, and this whole thing drains out, obviously, into the Kentucky River, because that's where you put all that stuff, I guess.
In the old days, for sure.
Definitely.
Right? Like I don't know if they're actively using it anymore for that, but
Seems
And-
unlikely.
that's what it was designed for.
And in the show, they decide that they're going to go into the sewer to look at the hole for some
Well,
reason.
no, they go down to the riverbed and they find the exit of the hole, the sewer drain thing, the blood drain.
But then they go in it.
and then
Why'd
they
go
walk in it. I have no idea why they're going
They
in
go
it.
in it and they're like, this place smells like shit. They're like, obviously, because
fucking
you're in the
sewer.
sewer.
Man, the best part of that whole situation though is like, do you hear that? And then it's like, do you hear that? And it's like, sounds like water. Yeah, you're in a fucking sewer. What do you think you're gonna hear? It's water draining. I was kept waiting for somebody to like flush like a bunch of garbage down it or something. That would have been the best part.
That would have been great.
Oh man! So they obviously find nothing in this hole aside from like some rats or something and like a bunch of water and shit floating.
They made a
around.
big deal of the fact that there's blood on the wall when it's like, yeah, we talked about it's a slaughterhouse. Like
It's the old
they made it
slaughterhouse
seem like it's
drain.
like, oh, this is a murder and there's blood in the wall. It's like, no, it's the slaughterhouse.
Totally.
There's one more minutia that's happening while they're in this place. There's like a Jesus figurine somewhere,
Oh, the
and
Jesus
it
figurine.
fell, and like the Jesus head broke off, and they're like, "Oh, it's so odd that this fell, and only the head broke." So crazy,
So it's unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Didn't they say something like a Jesus statue never falls and only the head breaks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, never.
Of course, never.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Um,
Clearly, that was a ghost doing.
I have a couple quotes, but from people on the podcast, and
Oh.
not from people in the show.
This is a fun.
Yes.
Can we guess who said it?
Yeah, I got two quotes.
Okay.
The first quote: "Is he about to jerk off into this well?"
That's definitely a Max quote.
No, that was Brian.
Oh, was it Brian?
I'm gonna say Brian.
That's
Oh.
definitely a Brian quote. And then I got maybe this place would be less haunted if it didn't look like shit.
I think that was James.
That was me.
That was definitely Max.
This
I was between Max and Rob.
this place just looks like garbage everywhere.
Oh, those are really good quotes. I had to write them down.
Thank you, Chris.
Should we go into the investigation
Yes.
phase?
Well,
And the-
well, one last thing is when they're
Yeah.
going around, they'll say from time to time, "We got to put an X there." And
Oh yeah.
Well, they were looking for hot spots.
hot spots.
Everyone was talking about these hot spots.
There's a lot of talk of hot spots.
This is like the the call that we were talking about in the other show, but
Yeah,
just like no one knows what hot spots means.
right. And so they put these duct tape X's down. So like, that's how we know where we're gonna put our static cameras later. It's like what?
Yeah, because they can't set it up when it's daylight out, so then they need the access to mark it so they can see it in the night vision.
Yeah, like why not just set up a static camera right now? It's a static.
They only
camera.
have one static camera
I'm sticking.
and they have
with
two
they
different
only had one.
locations.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that's on a budget.
They only have one static and they have like 3 portables, and that's all the cameras they have.
Oh yeah, they definitely don't have any budget right now. Season 17 might have some budget though.
Do you think season 17 they know how to turn off the night vision a little faster?
We'll get to that.
All right. So after all of this,
they
they're
get
like
locked in.
they get locked in with chains
Yep.
into Bobby Mackey's nightclub
Mm-hmm.
till 2 a.m. or something.
I have a theory on this chain thing.
What about it?
Well, so at first I thought it was really stupid. I'm like, okay, they're locking them in, whatever. They're making a big thing about the chains. I'm like, yeah, sure. But actually, what I think it is, because the way the format of the show is, where it's like only them inside, and like the whole situation is that they're, hearing something or whatever. And so it wouldn't make any sense if like they didn't lock the doors, because then it could have just been a random person walking in, right?
There could have
So I
already
think
been
that,
somebody
like-
planted in there.
Right. Well, no. Well,
There's
obviously, sure.
no.
But like I think that's the reason of the chains is like,
No,
I think
but
it's just-
they paint it as, ooh, you're stuck in this spooky place all night.
which I think is dumb. I think the actual thing is it actually serves a purpose, which is they're making a big fuss about
You're-
getting these like
You're
recordings.
thinking too much about it, James.
Is this
Oh,
chain
yeah.
a fire hazard?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the first thing these people do is they just shout at ghosts, telling them that to like come hunt them.
Zach has a very confrontational attitude towards these ghosts.
Yeah, if you feel like you believed in these ghosts and you believe that they can hurt you, this is probably not the right attitude you want to be coming into this atmosphere with.
The other cameraman had the right attitude.
Yeah.
To quote him, he said, "If you're gonna harm someone, harm Zach."
That's
That was
the
good.
best.
And then Zach's like, "Yeah, come after me."
Come at me, ghost.
I do love the tactic of, hey, ghost, hurt my friend here.
You're harming everyone. You're harming Carl.
Even Carl.
Poor
So-
Carl.
So I have a list
Yes.
of everything that they quote unquote heard.
Okay.
Ooh.
So they heard a female voice. They heard crying. They heard wall banging. They
No,
heard
no. That was obviously a Bigfoot hitting a tree with a log.
Oh, it was a knock.
was
Hear
a
a
knock.
squatch knock.
What do you call two Bigfoots in the woods? Doing it, it's wall banging. It's Bigfoot's getting it on.
they heard footsteps. They heard a man's voice. They heard, "Oh, precious no." Those are all the things that they quote unquote heard, which they sounded a lot like.
They really did.
Yeah, this was on the EVP,
The EVP.
right?
There was the EMF. Was there also EVP?
I don't know. There was a lot of acronyms that they were
Oh,
tossing around. Electronic
paranormal
voice
voice experience or something.
Yeah, there was something EVP.
Yeah.
you're right.
It was just a lot of static.
The one I remember is when he's like, I got the EMF reading to follow
Yeah,
the
yeah.
electromagnetic, and it's just a battery tester. That's what it looks
I
like.
have
I'm pretty
that
sure
written
Brian
down
just
too.
yells out, "That's a battery tester."
I just looked like it. Like
Yeah, they're like walking under something. They're like, "Oh, we got to get the EMF detector out."
Yeah.
The EMF, by the way, this is going to be another Bigfoot shout out. Is just the equivalent of the thermal vision.
Oh yeah.
Where like clearly you got to turn the therm on. In this case, it's an EVP.
If you
Or
haven't
the EMF.
listened to the Bigfoot podcast, you should. That is a really good podcast. You should definitely go listen to that one.
True.
Just as an
I
FYI.
don't know.
It'll also make a lot
It's
more
whatever.
sense when we're talking about it here.
Yeah, I think it adds some flavor.
Yeah. I feel like the first house, like I don't really have a lot of minutia to go over in this. Like,
Yeah, nothing.
this is just boring. Like,
It was pretty boring.
There's a bunch of nothing.
Was that where the guy got attacked in the bathroom?
yes,
So we could talk about that. A
Yeah.
little bit.
that's where he heard wall banging.
He was going to the bathroom and he heard wall banging.
Yeah.
And ran out of the bathroom. And then he goes back in and he hears something again. He starts to run out and Zach grabs like, "Don't run from this." That's really all the minutia.
That was kind of about it.
There-
When did the scratches happen?
That I'm in the second place.
There is one more fun thing in the first place: the jukebox.
Mm-hmm.
Is the same
Yeah, we
jukebox I
kinda
mentioned already? I thought that was happened earlier.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Did they actually hear something? Their jukebox in the?
No, they kept.
Oh, that's right. They brought their own music and they started playing it.
They
in
played the
mention of
same
jukebox.
song that they said the jukebox had played.
When they
and they
put
played
it-
it themselves to see what would happen.
And they put the stereo boombox where the jukebox was located.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see what would happen.
Nothing happened. Obviously.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh, is this where they saw the cowboy dark
Nope.
figure?
No,
That's,
that's
that
later.
was like the last
Shit.
thing.
I don't know. Okay.
It was mostly in the second house.
All right, well,
where
let's just
the-
get to that because that's the next
Let's
two.
get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, so they go into this place, the slaughterhouse, and there's no real door to this thing. It's just they have like a 2x4, like a giant sheet of wood. It's have a door,
Mhm.
and so they don't get locked in. James, there's no,
No,
lock.
they lock him in.
No, they locked
Nope.
him in. We just didn't see it. They definitely had to lock
they
How
him
did they
showed it.
lock him in? There was no door.
They put the door.
the chain.
The,
Chain
they put a
around what?
over it.
This is it's just a piece
Chris,
of
you're
wood.
overthinking it. They just put some chains over the wood. It's fine.
You gotta chain them in for the lockdown. That's part of the show.
They didn't get chained in.
They definitely chained him in.
They definitely didn't
Moving
get
on.
chained in.
So they're chained in this slaughterhouse, and I don't even like the whole problem with this one, in my opinion, is that nothing is distinct looking, and the whole thing's shot in night vision. So like, you just have no context of where the fuck you're
I didn't
at.
have any context where anything was in this whole entire show, whether it was in night vision or not.
So all you're just watching these dudes in a dark room with night vision cameras looking at each other, being like, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah, it was a lot of be quiet. I heard the
Shut up,
wind.
shut up, shut up.
I heard the wind.
Yeah,
And-
it's just that.
Eric, that's the main dude's name again?
Zach.
Zach Bilbo Baggins.
Terrible name. What? Okay. Zach just is working at Zach's back in these thermal cams. He's like, "Oh, I feel heat. I feel weird.
I'm
What's
burning."
going on? I'm burning. I'm burning." And they're like, "Yo, you got some scratches." And they're like, take off the therms. I gotta see. You gotta take the
Night
Yeah,
vision.
night
They
vision.
tell
You
him
gotta
to
take
take off the night vision for like 5 minutes.
so long. Definitely a commercial break in between this too.
Dude, definitely could have been.
And like finally it turns off and he has this giant scratch like
It's kind
on
of
his back.
3 scratches down. his back.
They're not very deep, but they
No.
are very long.
Yes.
No, it's just like from banging.
Yeah, clearly, he was scratching his back right before this.
Is
He's
this
got a freaking hangnail and he scratched himself a couple times. Like,
I mean it definitely seems like a setup. I mean it's definitely a setup. It's just like very odd. You think if it was a setup they would like shown his like non-scratched back earlier.
But then why would you examine a guy's back? Maybe from this episode on, they always show his back first.
Just like, look, I have no scratches. I'm fine.
What if next time it's just on his butt? Like it could be on any body part. You know that we're using this mechanic.
no, Brian, we'll get to it. See, that was the physical. What you really got to be concerned for is when they attack you on a spiritual level.
Oh,
He's right.
But
That's right, you're right.
Was jumping ahead a little bit to the Exorcist guy, but we'll get to that.
The scratching was super weird to me. That like kind of because like it was the thing that seemed the most fake out of anything. But like if you were gonna fake it, you should have done it better than that. But so I'm very confused by like what went on with that because there's no way I feel like the scratch was like a normal thing that happened, but the way they like did it as a setup was weird too. Like I don't understand.
I like it. So the funniest thing about the scratch is that they couldn't get the cameras to get out of night vision mode.
Yes.
And you couldn't see it in night vision mode. So you just watch like a minute of these guys just like, oh my God, what's happening to my back? And you can't see shit.
Yeah, there's like, oh look at the back. Oh my god. Oh, and,
And meanwhile, Zach is freaking out. He's like, "What is it, guys? What is it? Somebody take a photo and let me look at it."
They even took a photo of the phone, and you see him looking at the photo on the phone, be like, "Oh my god!" And you still don't know what it is because the damn night vision's still on.
Just yelling at the TV like, "I can't believe the cameraman doesn't know how to turn off the night
And then when he
vision."
finally turned off, he's like, "Oh, I finally got it." So it's like they even had that audio there. It's just like,
They also pulled it off later in the show too. They're like, "Oh, I think it's happening again." I was like, "What? You're crazy." Because they never showed like a clear cut difference.
yeah,
And it's just like, this is, I don't understand what's going on. The show is so boring at this point. Like, I don't want to watch people sit around and be quiet and like have random stuff happen.
Yep.
Well, that's why they got to do the provocations.
But then after that was one of my favorite parts where they said, after we reviewed the footage of Zach freaking out, we noticed some very suspicious activity, which included strange lights falling, which was clearly like dust being picked up by the night vision camera.
Yep.
And
then
the beam of white light.
A beam of light shooting out of him,
They did that a couple times.
which was just like a shadow in the background. It was so funny. They like replayed it over and over again. It's like, didn't make any sense.
One thing I do appreciate about this show is like when they're trying to show you proof, they'll play it like 3 times.
Yes, that is.
That is a nice touch.
And they'll
And-
zoom in on the grainy footage.
Yeah.
And after all 3 times, you're like, no, that was nothing.
Definitely. There's never once I think that they like rolled to the evidence and you were, oh, maybe I could see something. It was always clearly, I don't see anything.
Ain't no way.
the precious, when it said the word precious, I was like, I can hear why where they're getting that from. That was the one where I was like, okay, I'll give you that.
I mean, it definitely helps that they write the words on the screen for you. I mean, like your brain's kind of playing some tricks there
Oh yeah,
too,
no,
I think.
that's definitely part of it. But it's like it wasn't like when they're like, do you hear that woman's voice, and then play it over, and it's like I don't hear anything except like a humming in the background.
Yeah. That one
Whoa,
at least.
who-
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear that?
I don't hear anything.
I heard a woman's voice, and you didn't hear that?
No.
We don't have video on this podcast, or we would show you the man with the cowboy hat.
The man, the cowboy.
Yeah. I
It
guess
doesn't exist.
there's 2 remaining funny things in this show. One is they show some footage of a room and just like you see a shadow walk by, they say like, yeah, we reviewed the footage and this guy's definitely a guy with a cowboy hat. And then should we get to the church?
Yeah, and like they showed like, oh yeah, there's this shadow of a guy walking. It's like, Yeah, it was probably one of you walking.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, right? Like it's like, okay, one, all these sounds or whatever, just some other dude they're with just walking around. Like it's one of them, they're just happen to be in different rooms or whatever. Two, like shit just sounds weird sometimes. Like we're sitting here at Chris's, the heater comes on and you're like, what the fuck is that? You're like, oh, it's just the heater. Like,
Or
shit just
is
happens. I mean, as
We've been
should see.
haunted to shit today.
Yeah, I mean, we did have the whole fiasco trying to get this podcast recorded, which we've been warned from the show that ghosts do like to mess with the audio visual stuff. So
Yes. We were definitely visited by a spirit that knocked the controller off Chris's desk and messed up the recording
yeah,
of the podcast the first
It
time.
yanked the mic cable clean out the computer.
It was clearly a haunting.
Yeah,
Clearly.
clearly.
Call up Zach.
Oh,
We need to get him here.
Imagine
guy.
what if we did a lockdown where Zach was locked in Chris's apartment?
Is Chris also here with them?
We're just playing video games all night.
He's like, what's that noise? What's that noise? Chris is just like, it's me. I'm just playing the game.
But you have to play in the dark with night vision on.
He's playing Call of Duty. He's got night vision on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bulk of the show was in this like house.
There was a lot of the show.
It was
It went on for quite some
it's
time.
too long.
Really did.
Seeing that guy's back in night vision and not seeing anything was like half the show. It felt like.
At least 10 minutes. So are we going to answer the almighty question here,
What?
which is real, Bigfoot or ghosts?
Well, we got one more minutia to
Aliens.
go over
Okay.
before we get to that.
Yeah,
Which is they go to this bishop of U.S. Old Catholic Church. I'm assuming that's not a Catholic church. That's just some sort of
It's not. I
Other-
googled it.
denomination, and talks to this exorcist, and he said what you did was dangerous, guys. It was dangerous to go provoke ghosts. 3 markings like that is the mark of the devil,
the Trinity.
the Trinity.
He says, I study demonology. You definitely shouldn't be doing this. He says it so matter-of-factly. It's unbelievable.
My favorite part was like, I'm ready to do an exorcism on you right now. It's like, slow down, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to pay for that. We're just paying for the interview.
And then he tells Zach, I tell everyone who does this that you don't want to have a confrontational style with paranormal. And Zach goes, yeah, I see what you mean, but this is my style, so I'm just gonna keep doing it. It's like, why are you talking to this guy?
And then the dude flips. He's like, well, I guess if you're on a mission, you're on a mission. Like, I have to do what I have to do. You clearly have to do what you have to do. So, just, keep it real out there. I get or something. I don't know what he ends it with, but that's kind of, yeah. I don't know. That whole thing to me felt very set up and staged. Like, it was clear like they were going to shoot that without even shooting anything else. And like, okay, this is going to somehow be in episode 1 of this whole series.
Yeah.
Like, that was like their shot when they pitched it. Like, I think like that's their concept shot.
Do you think that every episode has some sort of interview at the end? Like, what is the end of a normal episode?
What if it's an interview with that guy at the end of every episode?
Oh, I
The
hope
check-in
so.
with the crazy guy. Yeah.
Yeah, season 16. Zach, why do you keep doing this to me?
What was this a symbol of?
Oh, that guy is just really a spirit that needs to be freed by Zach going around and finding all these spirits.
Anything's possible.
Some sort of Jackie Chan Adventures kind of bullshit.
Man, I feel like there'd be a great twist to this show. So
If
like
everything
clearly the
was
people,
real?
They're clearly. Well, I'll get to it, which is all right. So you got all these people that are doing the interviews, right? And they're all like stone faced serious about this shit. Like they're pretty like like this is pretty scary, whatever. So like, what if like Zach and crew are like okay, like they have their same style. They get into it, and then like somehow throughout the night they like stage something and scare the shit out of the actual people.
I feel like when that dude was taking a piss and he heard like the wall banging, that was definitely one of the other people fucking with him.
Right. Like I think there's a show in there that like about halfway through at some point, like you start fucking with people and it actually gets really fun to watch.
That would
Until
be
it's not, and then you're like, oh, they
if there
took it
was
too
like
far.
if there was like 5 people and like 3 of them were like really seriously into this and the other 2 were just there to fuck with them, that'd be really fun. I think that would be much more entertaining.
Some
Right.
sort of ghost who is the mole?
Well, I mean, it's the same 5 people, so
Who
know.
is the ghost?
All right.
I do think
Each week is
an
different.
Impractical Joker style would also be funny here. Like if somebody in somebody's ears, like, okay, ask him about this dumb thing. It's like, there's no way he believes this, right? And they're like, okay, I gotta ask you this thing. Anyways,
All right. So this whole Bigfoot. I don't know if we want to get into the Bigfoot show first. James, do you think what's
you say it like
what's
people
real?
don't know what Bigfoot is, Chris.
What's real?
Everyone knows that.
What do you believe in? What do you think is real?
So what's
Bigfoot
the question here?
or
Is the question
ghosts?
which is more real or which is real?
Which do you think has a more probability of being real?
Which
From-
has a higher probability of being a plausible or a real thing?
Yeah, that's what I want to know, James.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people thinking they're seeing a thing that is a Bigfoot creature is way more plausible than this ghost stuff.
Okay,
That's my answer.
that's your answer.
Yeah. As I've said, and I think we discussed on the Bigfoot show, which is, yeah, it's just kind of a big creature-like animal that stands upright, which seems somewhat believable. This world's got a lot of crazy shit on it. Like, there you go.
All right, Rob. What's your answer on this one?
Ghosts are definitely more likely to be real than Bigfoot.
Oh, strong statement there. Strong
All right, well,
statement.
you can't, you're like, well, based on what?
Because the Bigfoot thing, if Bigfoot was real, they'd have found Bigfoot by now.
They'd have found bones or something.
There'd be so much evidence. They found evidence of animals and creatures that haven't existed for millions of years, and you're telling me no one's found any evidence of Bigfoot? Like, it's not
That's
real.
fair.
But ghosts is like it's if you believe that there's like a different like plane out there we can't really experience, it's like that's seems
Yeah.
more plausible of that could be something we haven't gotten evidence
You
of.
can't
I'll give you that,
prove
like,
it doesn't exist.
It really depends on, like, the problem I have with this argument is the ghost definition. Because
Look-
once you take it to, like, a ghost could be anything, then, like, of course that's more possible than, like,
Yeah, that's why
Very
they're more
specific.
That's
plausible.
the question.
oh my God.
All right, Max, give it to me.
Aliens are the most likely.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
But
That's the easy answer.
all right, but the question, if you're going to put aliens in this, is aliens visited Earth versus ghosts versus Bigfoot?
I don't know why you put it that way.
Because aliens are
created
clearly the-
Bigfoot.
Aliens
Okay,
brought us
I
the
don't
gift of
think
Bigfoot.
aliens have visited Earth yet.
Are aliens also ghosts?
Maybe like their spirit can transcend. Who knows?
That's how they interact with us. Is
If I had to
channel.
choose between ghosts and Sasquatch, I'd have to choose ghosts. There's too much evidence against Sasquatches.
What about Yeti?
It's pretty unexplored.
All right, Brian, what about you?
You know, I think I got to go Bigfoot. I honestly, so there's a lot of places in the world that have not been explored. We're still finding stuff.
he's true.
So there's a high, plus it could just be really like a naked guy in the woods, naked hairy guy.
I mean, that's definitely the most plausible.
There's
And
definitely a
hence
naked
not a
hairy
Bigfoot.
guy in the woods somewhere. Like, that's a sure thing.
I think I got to go with ghosts here. I think that,
Over a
there's-
naked hairy guy?
Oh yeah. I'm very anti Bigfoot. If you've listened to the Bigfoot pod, so
What do you got against him?
he doesn't exist.
This is why we got to get Chris.
Not
to
that's
be
circular
our
logic.
People, we need those tweets.
Oh man,
That's right.
I don't want to do that. This whole Bigfoot. What was the name of the Bigfoot show again?
Finding Bigfoot.
Finding Bigfoot was I feel like that's a much worse show than this.
Which show seems more fake?
The Bigfoot show for sure.
I think this show seems more fake.
The show obviously way more
Wait.
fake.
Define fake. Like,
Okay,
no,
They're both equally as fake.
Scripted.
Yeah,
Okay.
like people like acting, essentially.
if you are hunting Bigfoot and you hear some weird ass sounds out there, you'll know that it's Bigfoot, but at least it's like an actual sound. This, it's like they hear a floorboard creak and they're like, "Oh my god, it's a ghost."
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like I was trying to figure out like what is fake, because it's just like we're listening for like the silliest stuff, and then like, oh, that's evidence. Everybody knows that a Bigfoot sounds like that. Everyone knows that ghosts are like that.
Everyone knows that Bigfoots love the smell of freshly grilled brats on the grill, so that's what we got to do.
I just think that the big difference between this show and Finding Bigfoot is these people take it way more seriously than Finding Bigfoot. They're just like, yeah, obviously everything ever is Bigfoot. And I don't think the way they acted, I think, was just like they clearly knew this was a joke, and
In the Bigfoot show or the
yeah,
show?
the Bigfoot show.
Oh yeah, that's why I think like.
But like this show,
yeah.
people actually go seriously. They took all of this seriously. At least it was filmed, showed to us this way. I'm not sure which way is a better show, but it definitely felt like they have very different tones.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think the show is as fun as Finding Bigfoot. Like,
I mean, Finding Bigfoot was more fun because the hosts were playing along with all of this, whereas like these people were actually they quote unquote I think thought that there were ghosts there, and they were trying to film them in somewhat realistic way, but they realized they need to get footage, so like they do what they got to do that. Whereas like the Finding Bigfoot thing, they were like, yeah, we know Bigfoot doesn't exist. Just fucking like jump, whatever. Like
whatever.
clearly jump like that, and we'll pretend like you jumped well like Bigfoot or something. I don't know. Like it's just like I don't know. Maybe it's because we watched season 1 versus like we watched Finding Bigfoot. We watched a pretty late episode 2, so like who knows what the current season of this
Right.
show looks like.
but it's like
in
yeah,
that
whatever.
regard.
we've done 182 of these friggin' ghost
Yeah, we're just
stories.
going to another hotel. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like,
They're
they're gonna
gonna-
find anything again.
They're going back to Bobby Mackey's for the 5th time.
Just-
This time, we'll really get it.
This time we're gonna jump into the pit and see what happens.
I
They
want to see
gotta-
the new
yeah.
battery tester.
Maybe. Who knows? I mean, the tech could be. I think it would be interesting to see what the difference between season 1 and season 17 is.
I'd love it if they had tech that was literally like stuff from Ghostbusters.
I was thinking a different direction. It was like, how do they not like imagine the show if they were actually like serious and there was like, you know, theoretical tech that actually exists that like you could detect things. Like it was like, you know, like futuristic shit, and like that'd be interesting to a degree. I feel like.
I think that they've
Yeah.
It's
like
look at this all new, you know, whatever. It
their
detects the
description
waveforms.
made it seem like they're always trying to update their tech. So like, there's definitely way better like cameras nowadays than there were when they were filming this thing. And I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
assuming they have better budget to get them.
Like, I mean, you got to like 3D scan these rooms, heat sensors, all kinds of shit.
You got to have those the therms.
Therms, laser.
This show definitely
vision,
needs some thermal.
everything. It needs everything. Dude.
Rob,
Man, thermal would make so much sense because then you could like see if any. I don't know. Ghosts don't put out any thermal emissions.
Rob, what is your take on Finding Bigfoot versus this show?
I think Finding Bigfoot felt more like the thing about Finding Bigfoot is like more things happen. Like they went to, you know, the local BFRO chapter and they would talk to the people. They did the reenactments with the CGI Bigfoot and they like had all the
Oh,
different
that was
like
great.
there were so many more elements to this show that this show like doesn't have. But like I felt, you know, both of them don't quite seem real.
Oh, really?
But this one definitely seemed more fake to me.
Is there like an alien version of this show?
There's
Yeah.
gotta
There's
be.
got to be. It's like called UFOs or something.
Yeah, it's called X Files.
Is that a reality show?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right. I think it's time for ratings. Brian, why don't you kick us off on the ratings front here?
I'm gonna go bottom of the middle. So I mostly want to watch like the new version of this, and I want to see what changes they've made in order to keep this fucking show going. Because holy hell, it's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear how like season. Would you say 18 of this?
17.
17. Like, could you? Is that like 17 years later?
No.
No.
Multiple
It's
seasons.
They
10
said-
years.
Jesus. Oof.
I mean, they ramped it up a little bit. Like they must have been getting some more stories.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch it, and I don't plan on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't plan on watching it. I want to watch it, but like realistically, when am I gonna do it?
I encourage you not to.
I feel like Chris, you just got to
I'm-
get your rating out.
Yeah,
out of the
I was
way.
gonna say it. I was just Brian kept interrupting me. Now
Sorry.
you interrupted me. Now I'm just not gonna say it.
Chris, what's your rating?
Bottom third. That's terrible.
Yep.
It's bad. Just bad. It's boring.
Yep.
Again, boring.
You didn't
That's all
find
I
a-
have to say.
That's all he's got.
James, what do you got?
So I am going to put it in the top of the bottom.
Yep.
You
The
got
thing is, it's in the bottom because this, like, I can't imagine watching much more of the show. However, it gets a little bit of a notch up as it was somewhat fun to watch with some other people, and just like rip on this show while watching it and just look around the room like I can't believe they're saying blah or like whatever. So I did have somewhat of a good time watching it with some folks and friends. Like I would definitely, if you're gonna watch the show
With other
you
people.
you should watch it with other people. Have a couple of beverages and just make fun of it. It'll be a good time. Bottom of the top of the bottom.
I'm going to say bottom third, middle of the bottom. It's not the worst show we've watched.
We've definitely watched some shit.
Yeah. It was just pretty boring, but there were little moments here and there of like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. All right, Rob, are you keeping the streak alive?
So I'm going to disagree slightly.
Okay.
I didn't think this
Oh.
show was boring. I thought the show was funny, and I
Okay.
enjoyed the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly torn because, like Finding Bigfoot, Finding Bigfoot watched and was kind of entertaining, but I was like, I think the show would get old fast, and I put it in the middle, and then I had a reevaluation later of that show did not get old. We got all these jokes out of it. We watched more, and we put it back in the top. So I kind of want to put this one in the middle, but I'm like, I wonder if I would if I watched
Rob,
a few more, gets a few
higher?
memes. I don't know.
You
I
put this
think
thing in the top?
Listen to
I
your heart.
wonder.
Listen to your heart.
I think I gotta go with the middle, but
You're saying it has potential.
I wonder if there's I'm trying to think I don't think it has the same potential to have the same kind of jokes we got out of Finding Bigfoot, so I don't think it would get revalued. But I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty fun and pretty stupid and funny. So I'm gonna put it in the middle, but I leave this one with a good thought.
There you have it, guys.
There it is.
I think that there could be episodes of this show that would be more funny. I just didn't think this particular episode was that funny. There's moments where there were ridiculous things they were doing and acting very serious, but there were so many moments where I was just wanting to check out.
The whole thing with his back, which I can see how you'd say that's boring, but that they're losing their minds and we can't see anything weird because the night vision is on and they keep saying turn off the night vision and they don't know how to do it and they finally do. That whole thing was great.
I thought that was maybe my favorite part of the show.
That was so good.
Because it was just fun to be in that moment. I'm just I can't believe these clowns don't know how to turn off the stupid night vision.
And Zach, the host, is just so weird in his personality, and he's trying to be this serious tough guy,
Oh, yeah.
but with his gelled hair, and just so strange. And I kind of like it.
I'm with you. I almost put it in the middle. That's why I did the top to the bottom. But
Yeah.
it was just in the end, I just don't know.
James,
that I
are
could
you
watch
gonna
again.
change your ranking right now? This is your chance.
It's close. I
This
said.
is your chance.
No.
This is
On the tape, it's top of the bottom.
this is the tape.
Yes.
So speaking of the tape, James made a reference to it. We noticed that we've gone a lot of shows with no one giving out any top thirds.
How long has it been, Rob?
The last show we gave a top third to was 2.5 months ago, and it was Castaways.
Oh,
And I told James that was the last show he gave a top third to, and he didn't believe me. We had to go back to the tape.
I really can't believe I gave that show a top third.
And one of the quotes was, "I'm definitely going to watch another episode." So, James, would you like to
Yeah.
give us a check-in on
Oh.
Castaways and how you've been enjoying that show?
All right, here's the Castaways update. Everybody ready? The thing is, I definitely
Said exactly
remember
that.
saying that on the pod, and I definitely have not watched any more of that show. Not only have I not watched it, I've even come across it in my queue on apps and things, and I'm like, there ain't no way I'm watching that show right now. There's so much other better TV out there right now. This is ain't no way. There's also way too much MTV shows. It's just not possible.
That's not an MTV show.
No, there's too many other MTV shows with the current fall lineup. I just can't. I don't have any time to be watching Castaways. I came across a random part of it just on TV, and it looked just as dumb. And I can't believe
What
we
do you
gave that show a
mean?
top
Just
third.
as dumb? You said it was top third.
I know. I want to retract my top third.
No, it's on tape. You
No,
can't-
I
you
can.
can't-
I can go and change it. I changed my challenge rating. I'm changing this one. I'm pulling the top third officially.
What are you putting it down to?
It's going down to the bottom of the middle.
I was gonna hope you were gonna put it in the bottom. You're just from top to the bottom.
It still has some value, but I'm not watching it, and so it drops a whole ways down. There you have
So
it.
how is that tattoo show going, James? You watching more of the tattoo?
I'm definitely not watching that tattoo garbage.
All right. Well, it's an MTV show. It's fall lineup. I don't know what you want.
I'm watching the Floribama Shore, which who knows if we're gonna have a season 3. That's we'll stay tuned on that. And yeah, I don't know, man. That hurricane really rolled through there. And what's the challenge? That I'm telling you right now, the challenge is never gonna end. The season can't end. There's too many people on it. It's just gonna keep going.
It's teams, so there's only like 5 or 6.
They're gonna
teams
bring
left.
back another. The freaking Redemption House is still going.
That's true.
They brought people back like 3 times.
I don't know.
It's
nuts.
wild.
So I'm, got all those things going, and yeah.
Somebody got in a fight last week. That's insane.
I mean, I guess that's true. 2 people are now off the show. Spoils, but 2 people are definitely off the show now. They were not in the show very long, and they gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
I've been keeping up with Survivor.
Oh yeah, how's the Survivor?
Survivor, it's
Is it picking up?
it's just as interesting as the challenge. It's just like people on there know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what to do. They're trying out these strategies. They've watched every season of Survivor. They only have like huge fans of Survivor on, and it's all these people scheming, and
It's a different game. Like nobody is on the show that's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's happening?
yeah, everyone knows.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think I could see why it's compelling.
Who's doing better, Davids or Goliaths?
So the Goliaths are doing better, but they split the teams up.
Oh.
So they had 2 teams, David and Goliaths. Then they split up into 3 teams because 2 people on the David team got hurt. Like somebody, we saw the one person get hurt, and then somebody else like broke or tore their MCL or something.
Whoa. Shit.
These Davids are not cut out for the survival life.
Definitely not. So they were like down, and they lost, so they were
I'm
down.
telling you, one dude like breaks his back and they helicopter him out,
Yeah,
and somebody else has like tears their MCL.
it was some sort of
What
ligament,
kinda
some sort of
ABC
ligament
show?
issue.
What are they doing?
I don't. It wasn't even during a challenge. It was like,
Neither was the first one.
yeah, exactly.
Jesus. What is the show?
So now there were like 3 Goliaths per team and 2 Davids per team, and like 1 David was in Exile Island.
Oh, was that like a redemption island?
I guess it's a normal thing in Survivor at some point.
I don't
like
think you come back from being exiled though.
he came back.
But
It's
like,
just like if
I don't
you're-
think that's how that works.
I don't know. He was in Exile Island by himself
I
for
think
all.
once you're exiled, that's just
You can come back from being exiled.
really you just
Yeah.
forgiveness.
Sometimes.
I don't know.
Oh, and so like they have immunity idols. We kind of went over that. But while this dude was in Exile Island, he found an anti-immunity idol
Ooh.
where you can play this at any tribal council and if somebody else plays an immunity idol, you can nullify their immunity idol.
Oh, that's so good.
But you still need to specify the person. So
But you don't
need-
know if they have it.
You don't know anything about it. You have to play it before you know they played it, and you have to know who you played it on. It's like useless.
How do you play it without them knowing you've played it?
It's like so you play the immunity idol after everyone's voted. So you have to play this while you're voting.
Oh, you played during your vote cast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And he was super
Crazy you have
excited.
to pick who you.
It
think
was
is
just like that would be super hard to use correctly.
yeah,
Yep.
Like you have to like have some sort of intuition or somebody to tell you that they're going to use it.
right.
It's
High degree of difficulty.
yeah. It would make sense to like, oh, you just play this and everyone used it.
Yeah, let us know if that happens. I'd be curious if it
Yeah,
ends up working out.
So I'll keep people posted. It's I'm enjoying it so far,
Gotcha.
and it's still just a show that I have on the side, along with the challenge. So
Nice.
no full attention given.
I want to do a quick check-in on one show, another MTV show, our old friends Jersey. And I'm like several episodes behind. So it's not like very current, up to date. But
Sure.
I had 2 thoughts. One was they definitely brought back a second season too soon. I don't think it's been as good. And it feels more fake drama this time, especially all the JWoww Snooki Angelina drama. Like something I really liked about the Jersey Day Family Vacation season 1 was that like, even though like they would, the producers would set stuff up, be like, I decided we should go on a yacht today. It's like, no, you didn't. But like the interpersonal relationships felt really real, and this feels very much like we need to come up with some drama for TV. So let's pretend I'm mad about this Mother's Day thing, and you're trying to be friends with Angelina, and I don't like it, and we're mad about that, and it just felt very fake.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I stopped watching the original Jersey Shore, because that stuff started to happen. I think once the Ronnie stuff definitely feels very real.
Yes.
And
Don't
once they leave Vegas, I think that it gets more realistic.
Okay. I'm right about where they first left Vegas.
Yeah. So I agree with you. They brought it back too soon. They're like forcing these vacations because I don't know, like
Yeah.
Vegas wasn't great, so they're like, oh, we need to do something, and like they have like a gender reveal party, and they go to Atlantic City. They're doing a bunch of other stuff other than Vegas. So
Yeah. But I will say, the person who's gone up the most from season 1 to season 2 for me is Big Daddy Sitch.
Big Daddy
Sitch is
Sitch,
crushing season 2.
he's good.
Who the hell is this? Is
The
this some-
Situation.
Oh, that's his new name?
That's his new name. And the thing that was a little bit of a thing in season 1 about him being like eating too much food, they've really rolled into a great recurring bit about how like just constantly ordering all this food and being obsessed with food. And Vinny is supposed to be his coach, get him ready for the wedding. And he's just ignoring Vinny's advice, and it's great.
There's
Hey, is he not going to jail?
He's gonna be going to jail. They joke about
That's why he's getting all the food.
they
I like
had
that
one
they're joking about.
they had one scene I liked where they're like, a reality show contestant became president. Which of us would be the best president? And they're like, if he was president, he'd definitely start by pardoning himself.
Do you think that
Change those tax laws.
Do you think they're just going to keep rolling from season to season just to keep him out of jail?
No, apparently he's going to jail in January.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if they'll
Damn it.
do a prison break season.
Oh, they come visit him in jail?
Family vacation. They all go to jail.
No.
there's
Jersey Shore in jail. That'd be something.
And then Vinny takes his shirt off. He's got the tattoos or the blueprints. It'd be really great.
That would be so good.
There was in the most recent episode I watched, there was a pretty funny joke about how like Big Daddy Sitch was like, yeah, at some point somehow I went from a large to an extra large. I don't know how that happened. I don't understand.
That's great.
And everyone's like, yeah, no one understands. It just happened out of nowhere.
Big Daddy Sitch also brings back the call home to my significant other to tell them the thing that happened that's not a big deal and just getting chewed out by the other person, which was a great recurring bit in season 1. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my Jersey Shore update.
I want to catch up one weekend for sure.
Yeah, I'm also behind. I gotta catch up too. But
Anyone else got any shout outs they want to? Are we good? We good? All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. Please rate us on iTunes. It really helps. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.